We're going to talk about financial literacy. The things that we don't normally speak about in our community, we're going to speak about them in here today, and it's going to be a safe space. So if you have questions, if you have input, if you want to know some things that you've been wanting to ask about but wasn't comfortable asking about it, please ask. And one quick thing, I did an interview on the news the other day. Shout out to Desiree. She's not here this morning. Give it up for Desiree. She's the publicist, right? Yeah. We get in the building, and this brother right here, stand up real quick right here. Stand up real quick. This brother right here hosts a television show. He saw us coming out. He said, beautiful, melanated people. Where you from? I just moved here 3 years ago. This brother Daryl, give it up for Daryl one time, y'all. If you're doing events, things of that nature, he's a man about town. He's in the streets. He wants to put our business on television. Please network. If you hear, network. Don't sit here and just talk to people that you know. Talk to people that you've never met, that you've never seen before, because you don't know who's going to be a resource. What I'm about to do is bring up the brother in pinstripes for the very first time. Please put your hands together for Larry Gunn one time. The pastor. How's everybody doing this morning? Come on, make yourself in your head this morning.
Sierra was at church one Sunday and she tapped Pastor on the shoulder and said, Pastor, I'm doing a men's conference. You know, you have to be careful with Sierra because Sierra be having ideas. She don't drop it all on you at one time. And so, you know, as a good pastor, yeah. And then the emails started coming through, and then I seen the flyer on the news. I said, what does Sierra got me going to? But I'm happy and honored to be here with you this morning. My task this morning, I got 30 minutes, and I'm going to get right to it because I ain't going to take long because, you know, the pastors be lying and saying they're going to stay at their time and they close 10 times. But I promise you, I'm going to stay within my time. My pillar this morning is to talk about empowerment. How do we empower each other? And the subject title that I was given is How to Be the Undefeated Man. How to be the undefeated man. Because oftentimes we think undefeated, it means that you haven't had any losses. It means that we are winning in every battle. We're winning in every circumstance. We're winning in every situation. But how do you know this thing called life is not just one battle? Because as men, we battle a variety of different things. Because all of you can attest to the fact, just wave at me, life is a struggle. Come on, just wave at me. Life is hard. Life is rough. Every man struggles with something in their life. It doesn't matter what it is, good, bad, indifferent. Everybody in here has a struggle. And oftentimes as brothers, we feel like we're the only one in the struggle. Is there anybody that ever felt like you're the only one with this problem? Trust me, the one sitting right next to you probably got more problems than you have. But brothers, we know one thing, and what we do know is we know how to manage our struggles well on the outside. But outside management has nothing to do with inside management. And I want to kind of walk you through a few things real quick. I ain't going to throw, the old Baptist preacher, I ain't going to throw a bunch of scriptures on you. I'm going to just give you one and then I'm going to get to where I'm going. There's a passage of scripture in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13. It says, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like a man, be strong. Paul is giving a couple quick things here to the people at that time, particularly the brothers. He's saying, you got to be watchful. You got to learn how to stand on guard. You got to learn how to stand firm on the faith. You got to learn how to be steadfast, meaning you got to learn how to get to a place in your life where you become unmovable, right? You become unmovable, but most importantly, he tells them, be a man and be strong. Act like a man, be strong. Now, all of us in here, every single one of us in here, that has been the national anthem for the brotherhood all of our life. You have to be strong. We was never taught, you cry, you punk it up. Come on in here. You get emotional, We do have pain. And when Paul tells them to be a man and be strong, it feels like that's been the sentence on our life since we was born. Be a man. Be a man. Be a man. The question becomes, how do I become a successful husband, a successful father? How do I become a successful man? You have to understand the difference between each one. Can you help me real quick? There's some hats right here. I need you real quick. There's some hats right here, and there's a soda right there. I want to show you something. Because if you look at success as a husband, just hand me them two hats. And then just hand me them two. If you look at success as a husband, what is a husband? A husband is a man who establishes a task with a role of being a provider, a leader, and head of his household. When you look at what a father should be a protector, a teacher, and an encourager. But when we talk about being a father, when we talk about being a husband, these are hats. They're nothing more than roles that we play. It's a hat. They're interchangeable. Because you can be a husband one day, and if you don't act right, you may not be one the next day. Y'all not. Where my sisters at? Come on, help me. They're hats that we wear. They're roles that we interchange in. Husband is what we do. Father is what we do. But being a man is who we are. Being a man is who we was created to be. But we have to ask ourselves the question and determine, how am I as a man today? You cannot understand where you line up or where you level up as a man today unless you learn what type of son you were. Because your manhood today is a reflection of your sonhood from yesterday. So this is what it looks like. It looks like this. As a son, you have to elevate, you have to evaluate, what have I been through as a son? What have I been through in the struggles of my childhood? We got this liter of soda right here. And I want you to just go with me on a journey, because this is important right here. Everything that you have been through has shaken you up in some shape, form, or fashion. For those of us who our fathers wasn't in our lives, those of us who have experienced some form of abandonment at some point, those of us who have been rejected and tried things that didn't work, those of us have experienced circumstances and issues in our life that we've never been able to talk about. One of the biggest things about being a man is we're never afforded the opportunity to share, because we're afraid that if we do share, we're going to be weaponized for it. Oh, come on in here, brothers. This is a safe space. Do you know today that there are men who have been molested, men who have been impacted, men who have been affected, men who have been rejected, but you are always told, be a man. So what happens is, in your sonhood, you've been through all of this stuff. And you've grown up being shaken up, you've grown up being dropped, you've grown up being kicked, you've grown up being turned around, and then they tell you to be a man. And so you got all of this that's shaken up. And here you try to put a hat on. So you have your role as a father, and you have to be an example, and you have to be an encourager. But what you don't realize is under that hat, there's suppression. And what happens is, throughout life, this is what it's been. That job didn't work out. That relationship didn't work out. And what happens is the wrong person that is connected to this hat receives the pressure of something that they never even asked for. Because we was built up, because we was pressurized, because we have been going through, because we have been suffering silently, because we have experienced struggles, because some of us may not have had nobody to teach us how to be a man. We have to teach ourselves how to be a man. When you're trying to be a provider and you can't keep a job, things that affect our manhood, all it does is create pressure. It creates pressure. It creates pressure. But guess what? What if I came down here right now, Big Baby, and handed it to, would you open this? How many of y'all would open this? But see, what happens is people don't see the pressure that we're under. All they see is the hat. Because we know how to disguise ourselves under the robe. We know how to hide under the robe. We know how to manage under the robe. But under that hat, there's depression. There's frustration. There's oppression, frustration. There's struggle. There's pain. There's suffering. There's hurt. And out of all of this shaking, out of all of this, it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. We don't mean it. We wasn't trying to hurt nobody. We never intended to hurt nobody. But somebody releases that pressure, that pain. And if I was to open this right now, what would happen? It explodes. As brothers, we have to learn. If I want to be undefeated, it's not going to be because of the absence of trials or tribulations or circumstances or pain or hurt. It's not the absence of failure. It's not the absence of losses. It's my ability to manage through them. How do I manage through that? How do I manage without losing my mind? How do I manage without struggling? How do I manage without suffering? How do I manage pain? How do I manage it and be a man? How do I be a man with all of this in me? How do I be a man with all of this that I went through? How do I be a man? Because people may know your story, but they don't understand it. Because you don't know what it took for me to get to where I am today. You don't know what it took for me to get where I'm at. When I was 5, my father left. And I had to watch a black woman, my mother, raise me, catching buses, trying to put herself through school. We lived in the projects. We was on food stamps. I'm talking about real food stamps. Y'all know y'all got that electronic stuff today. I'm talking about them booklets. Come on in here. I'm talking about them booklets where you tear the 5 out, you tear the 10 out, and they never ever gave you no change. I never understood that. Anyway, I had the booklets.
They did.
In my 20s, my father has never heard me preach one day in my year. You've never seen my successes. But I want to be a father. I want to be what he wasn't to me. And what I had to learn was, when life hits, you have to take every experience and learn how to use it as a lesson and not use it as a weapon. Because oftentimes we weaponize our experiences toward us and we project what we weaponize ourselves with. Because the issue becomes, I'm trying to be what I didn't get. And brothers, you can't live that way. You have to be who you was created to be, not what you didn't get. In my 20s, then I get diagnosed with a heart disease. And the doctors tell me, you could drop dead at any minute. And I'm walking around here living life, no father, heart disease, issues, abandonment, struggle. How am I ever going to be get to the road. And what I learned what it was is, and I want you to imagine this because this is important. The problem that I had was, picture a tree. I knew how to manage the leaves on the tree well. The leaves were nothing but coping mechanisms. Things that I used to try to help myself navigate through some of this. And whenever the leaf didn't work for me, I would pick the leaf. But the problem was, enough watering, the leaf would grow back. Brothers, if you ever are going to get past what I call the leaf level, and if you're ever going to really see real change and real impact and real empowerment, you can't heal yourself from leaves. You got to go past the leaf, past the branch, past the trunk, and you got to dig that thing up by the root. Because where